Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1500 UK time, the last Friday of the month, and that can mean one thing and one thing only. It's time for PMI Live. This week with myself, Rich Seddon, Managing Partner of PMI, Dennis Cromentine Marsh, wherever you are, Dennis, somewhere over there, Director Consultant at PMI, and Oliver Chan from our partners, Cloud2. As you know, we always like to give ourselves a challenge on a Friday afternoon in PMI Live. So yet again, we're trying something new. We've got a tech demonstration for you today. I am delighted to say Oliver is in the driving seat for the technology. So those of you who've witnessed my technical ineptitude in these things will be pleased to hear that too. So as I say, it's great to have everyone with us. Those of you joining us on the live streams on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, if you want to take part in the live chat and Q&A, and I think we'll have quite a lot of questions coming given the nature of the demonstration this afternoon, hop on over to the registration page, which is at pmi.co.uk/webinars, where you will find the registration link, and it's still live. So there's plenty of time to jump on in there. Also, I should point out at this juncture that Dennis and Oliver are both really keen to take your questions and chat as well. So I'm sure you'll have some technical questions. Let's keep them on their toes, folks. So do keep those coming. I'll keep my eye on those and put them to the guys as we progress. So before we go any further, I think it's a sensible point, Dennis, for you to tell us what we're going to go through and cover today.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, we're going to set the scene. If you watched the last webinar from last month, which is about 6 trends for 2023, one of the topics was about an increased desire for automated analytics. So then I'll talk about what are the benefits of it, and then I'll hand over to Oliver to say, okay, how does EasySPC fill this gap and do a showcase? We'll then do a summary, and by the end, Rich, we have a fantastic offer for the participants today.
Oh, we've got both. Dennis is the stick today. I've got the carrots here. So yeah, hang on to the end, folks. And actually, Cloud2 have agreed for an exclusive offer for everyone that is attending the live session. That they'll give you a full trial license to the full product that we're going to see. We'll release the details of that at the end after Oliver's finished the demonstration. So look out for that, and yeah, we'll get you registered for anyone that wants it.
So Rich, I believe we have a lot of guests today who've not met us possibly before.
Yeah, we do. So actually, we thought we'd just do a quick introduction to both companies. I know we don't usually introduce PMI in these in this settings, but when Dennis and I were looking through the participant registration list, there's quite a few of you who we don't recognise, who we've not seen before. So you're very, very welcome. Hopefully, you'll enjoy the experience with us today. So super quick introduction to PMI. In essence, here we go, the way the performance improvement expert. So all the challenges regarding process and performance improvement, we're your folks. So 2 main aspects to our business, the learning side and the consultancy side. So the learning side we're very famous for. Thousands of people over the years have been trained by us, in class, virtual, distance, and on demand. Can't resist it. Look out, folks, for our social streams and email streams on the 7th of March. We've got a really exciting new product launch coming that day that the entire PMI team have been working on, and we've committed yesterday that 7th of March is go live day, so look out for that. Then on the other side, we've got the consultancy, tackling all kinds of performance challenges, hands-on project work, advisory, placed resources, and coaching at every level. And I'm sure many of you know by now, our content is the broadest in the industry. All of our thought leadership content, so PMI Live, Uncommon Sense podcast, Leading for Business Excellence podcast, and also the Room for Improvement video series, all can be found in the Knowledge Hub, pmi.co.uk. It's on the top menu. Go have a look over there. Right, that's the intro done from my side. Oliver, it'd be great for you to introduce Cloud2 if you can.
Absolutely. Well, firstly, thank you for inviting me and Cloud2 onto this PMI Live webinar today.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. I think I was joking that I was a little bit nervous with it being a live webinar, but now I've actually seen the attendee numbers. I think I am a little bit nervous, but I'm going to try and skip past that. It's nearly 5 o'clock on a Friday, so we're nearly there. But yeah, so thank you, everyone. So Cloud2, we're a Microsoft Gold partner who specialize in data analytics and automation services, primarily using the Microsoft stack. And as you may be able to tell from my accent, for those of you who are from the UK, we're based in the north of England. So I myself are in Yorkshire. And Cloud2 are part of a wider group, the BCN group, who are also based in Manchester. And we've got around about 300 staff, 550 million turnover. And we provide that IT support and services with a real focus on data and analytics. And part of what we've offer is EasySPC, which you'll hear mentioned a few times before I show you a little bit more about it later on in the webinar. Thanks, Dennis.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We just had a guest appearance from your boss there, for anyone with beady eyes there, Oliver, but he's now left. Thanks, Taron. Lovely to see you. Wrong link.
All right. So let's set the scene. So why do we have this fantastic partnership, and what's the journey towards it? So first of all, back to the webinar from last month. There were 6 trends with impact, and one of them, it was data analytics in performance management. And therefore, on the right-hand side, we covered 2 key aspects, and hence today, the single source of truth, and also the robust processes for creating, analyzing and driving insights using your data in an automated way. So let's take all the effort out of this and let the technology do the hard work, so you use your human capital on actually what you want to do, which is driving insights, driving actions. There's a link but down there, by the way, if you want to have a look at that webinar from last month. So first of all, SPC. We bounced this around. PMI is nearly 40 years young, and we just thought, let's have a look at this. Where are we today in understanding what SPC is? So many quotes. Here's one. One of the gentlemen that we have a very strong relationship with. He's a world-renowned statistician called Dr. Donald Wheeler. And he says it's a simple and effective way to define the voice of the process. That's what SPC is. It helps you to understand the story. So therefore, in the purple you see in the middle, it considers not just the center, the average that we always talk about in lots of management reporting, but also variation into your process. And how does it do that? It does it use a graphical analysis and a set of rules. And therefore demonstrates something quite amazing. It shows you how the process behaves today, and whether the variation of that process is stable or unstable. If the process is stable, it only contains, therefore, what's called common cause variation, natural variation, and therefore we can predict the future. And that's quite an interesting aspect there, predicting the future. However, if the process is unstable, it therefore contains assignable cost variation, a signal. Therefore, we want to investigate that. If it's good, keep it. If it's bad, what caused it? And therefore, it becomes unpredictable. So the control charts really helps us, therefore, to enable a change in thinking and behavior around how best to react to process performance. So for us,
yes?
Sorry
to interrupt you there, Dennis, just on your flow. So just thinking about that, we've got a comment in here regarding Don's, the quote of Don's there. So we prefer to use internally a simple and effective way to understand the voice of the process rather than define it. Both apply. There's something, I think I agree on that. There's something static suggested by define, which of course today we're definitely talking about the dynamic and versatile.
Yeah, understanding. Love it. Thank you very much. So it's a change in behavior and mindset by everybody in the organization, how to deal with your data today and tell stories to understand what the story is. So I couldn't resist a little bit of history. And here's the history. Let me start in the left top corner. 99 years ago, May 1924, the first ever control charts gets published by Walter Schuhart. 1970s, software starts to emerge, and interestingly, some of the first software that in this area is something called Minitab, which I'm sure many of you either love or loathe. We use it on our improvement projects. And 1980s, we see also then the emergence, of course, of lots of control charts and the continuation of control charts on paper. Now, nothing wrong with paper. It's still used in many operations that we witness and we visit. This is a particularly fine example. It's called the Japanese control chart. And if you think this is a story you would like to see, then give us a shout around this. We then move into the 1990s all the way till now. And you see that organizations now have a desire to automate and go to what's called near real-time display of behavior of the processes. And I'll steal the word right to understand what's going on. And there's many different software solutions on the market. Now, within PMI, we also realized that not just did we want to monitor the everyday, but of course also the project side of this. So we created a data analytics package around this, which has now been with us for the last 13 years. Power BI gets launched in 2015. Now, why Power BI in this particular context? As you heard from Oliver earlier, they are a Microsoft partner, and the tool that they've created, EasySPC, came to life last year, June. And when we saw it, we were overwhelmed. I've been watching for this to come to the market for a very long time. I've tested many different applications within Power BI. So an EasySPC came on the market, it's like, wow, okay, let's have a chat with these guys. This is brilliant. And hopefully you'll see later why.
And Dennis, if I can just add to that, I'll also start following protocol in a minute and raising my hand properly when I want to speak instead of interrupting you. Apologies. Just to add to that, I think one of the things, folks, that we've seen in this product, in our practice with different companies around the world, there's really widespread adoption of SPC charts in the problem investigation environment. And as Don says, defining the voice of the process. Where many of our clients struggle is bringing them to life as a day-to-day management practice. And for the first time when Oliver's business demonstrated the product to us for the first time, we saw the possibilities of that in this product, which is why we asked them to come and join us today, but also why we're partnering with them and featuring the EasySPC product in our consulting services from now on. It's been, as Dennis says, a long time coming, and we're delighted to see it, and also really excited about the possibilities to make SPC less of a, watch my language, headache to maintain on a day-to-day basis.
So I'm going to ask now the audience a question based on a small roadmap. So first of all, let me show the roadmap to the audience. So question to all of you. Where are you on this journey to understand, to analyze, and to report your data? So on the left-hand side, you see 4 questions. Where's your data stored? How do you report? Is your reporting real time? And how do you take decisions? And at the top, you see 3 options: basic, intermediate, progressive. Now, if you read within that, therefore, I've given some context to what I mean by these. So for data stored, you're still in a manual basis. There's no data in a central location. You have a mix of spreadsheets in terms of intermediate or progressive. Majority of data is in lakes and data lakes or data warehouses. So here you see now for all the others, I'm sure you've read them by now fast, and I've been able to talk about, for example, the reporting. You may go from basic tables to Excel to interactive reporting, which could be in any number of different tools. There's many more other tools on the market for that. And therefore, you're reporting real time. And for decisions, do you have a lot of arguing in your reporting? Do you have a lot of skepticism? Or do you all understand the charts through reporting, charts annotated insights and actions?
So folks, I've launched a poll, as you can see, which is asking you to look at these 3 columns that Dennis has presented on screen: the basic, the intermediate, and progressive, and give us an estimate of where you think your organizations are on that journey. And I can thankfully see that people are responding already, so that's good news. Excellent. So let's have a look. I shall share the results and see what we've got. Now, I know we sometimes say, are there any surprises in this? I am actually surprised by this poll result today, with 50% ranking your organizations in the progressive end of this spectrum, which is fantastic to hear. So, and then 41% in the moderate and 9% in the basics. So No pressure, guys. We've got experts, highly developed reporting systems in the room. Over to you to carry on and see how we can show them the product.
Absolutely. And yeah, fantastic to see this spread towards the right-hand side of this, the table.
That's brilliant.
And for the next time, I'll have also a fourth one, which says we already have EasySPC and we're using it. So that'll be number 4 for the future. So yes. So common challenges, and Oliver, do chop in here as well. Some challenges that we observe when I'm with clients is they've got data, but still difficult to download, or they have reporting tool, but it isn't a company standard. Or the leadership team has no desire to move to SPC charts. They don't really understand the benefits they bring. And we have only one person in our department who understands SPC, let alone how then to gain insights from it. So that's on the challenges side. However, on the positive side of this, what could and does today look like, and I think witnessing by the poll we've just done, I'm sure a number of you fall in this category. We have a data lake, and it's easy to access data on demand at point of need. We have standardized reporting tools, for example, incorporating EasySPC as across all teams. Or the leadership team understands SPC charts and actually uses them to drive business performance. And lastly, not just a single individual or a few SMEs, we have all employees in the organization have at least a basic foundation SPC, therefore that common language also to drive improvements.
Mm-hmm. Dennis, I've just put in the chat a couple of questions asking people, what do these challenges look like in your organization? And do you recognize any of these? Really keen to hear this, particularly when we think about the practice of bringing this stuff to life. The more real world the feedback that you guys can give us, the better.
Yes, give us your questions on this topic. Yeah, love to be able to answer them, and even the questions I'm not able to answer even better. So, in terms of benefits for EasySPC, I'll hand over to Oliver.
Excellent, thank you, Dennis. So yeah, I guess you've all heard EasySPC being mentioned a few times. The title of the webinar is EasySPC, but what is EasySPC? So we've developed a Microsoft Power BI custom visual, which is certified by Microsoft as well, which essentially ensures that from a data and governance perspective, a security perspective, we've ticked all the right boxes there, just to ensure that we're not storing any of your data in our databases or anything like that, and it's all yours. So all those nice governance boxes have been ticked, so we'll get that nice one out of the way nice and early. But essentially what we've done is we've developed a tool which you can very easily create any of the standard 10 control charts, like the XMR chart, the XBAR-S chart, the C charts, etc., from Power BI, but we've added ability and functionality that maybe it's not as easy to do in other tools, and aligning them with your other report visualizations as well, and other data that you may want to sit side by side with that. And those include things like being able to automatically recalculate limits, being able to shift and rephase baselines, as well as marking the initial baseline in the first place, and annotating on the charts as well, and being able to tell that story as part of that journey. And then the nice ones, which a lot of organizations still like to do as part of their board reports and things like that as well, is it's being able to export to PDF and PowerPoint, so you can still analyze that those charts and have discussions if you're not wanting to do that online like we are all doing today. But yeah, and as Dennis mentioned earlier on as well, EasySPC went live in June last year, so we're not even a year old yet, maybe 9 months or so, and we've already had over 13,000 unique visitors to our Microsoft App Source page. So those of you on Power BI, you feel free to find EasySPC in App Source, and you'll be able to go and download a free version there as well. And we've had over 4,000 downloads from 130 countries, and Dennis and Rich were laughing at me earlier on when I made them aware that I didn't even know there were that many countries. So it's great to hear. So yeah, it's certainly gone vast and wide. And I'll be going through a demonstration very shortly just to show you some of those key features and functionalities there as well. Dennis, if you could go to the next slide, please. So part of what we're going to do today is I'm going to share with you a short video case study, which is from Tom Nicholas, who's a Director of Informatics at East London NHS Foundation Trust. And it's an NHS trust that we've been working closely with from a data analytics perspective, and helping them on their journey with Power BI and data in general. And they came up with a task of, well, how do we create SPC charts in Power BI, and how do we scale SPC charts? They were previously using, Excel tools, Minitab, LifeQI, and other tools, and they were more siloed towards their quality improvement projects, but they wanted to branch that out operationally across the organization. And as you can see on the screen here, it's talking about how they were able to deliver 34,000 charts just in one department daily, and that was automated. This video, which we were just about to show you as soon as I start speaking in about 5 seconds, it was about 18 months ago. I caught up with Tom just a month or so ago on this same topic, and he said that if they haven't already, they'll be very close to 100,000 charts within the organisation today, which is great to hear. So yeah, Dennis, would you mind pressing play on that? Thank you.
So this is exciting, but it's also rather scary, and it might be for some of you out there that have begun the journey that East London started quite a few years ago. So this is our integrated app solution, and this is just for inpatients. I just wanted to describe some of the levels we've got to. So we have a high levels inpatient summary, which has 3 SPC charts contained within it. We have population health pages. There are 4 of those with 20 SPC charts. We have quality, safety and flow pages. There are 10 of those pages with 49 SPC charts. There's a value section, again with 5 further SPC charts. So what have we got there? We've got 77 SPC charts in this suite. We have 6 directorates and a trust-wide view. They each have their own set of that 77. Within each area and trust view, we also have 75 inpatient wards or inpatient areas. You can see where we're going now. Just in this inpatient solution, we have 34,000 SPC charts generated daily for board level, for directorate level, for ward level, for team level, all able to digest their SPC charts at the level that they need it to make decisions. Before we had this solution with Cloud 2, we had a reasonably automated solution, or at least we thought so. So we have a data warehouse where we can create procedures to automatically feed charts that we can put in Excel. We had pre-designed templates where all the rules, all the procedures, all the charts were already set up. We only had to lift the data into it. We had pre-designed reports where we could just lift the charts into and set them away. But even with this method, we could say actually it took no time at all to run the procedures overnight because, we were asleep and the data warehouse was doing the hard work while we were sleeping. And perhaps it takes minimal amount of time to lift that data from the data warehouse into our preset Excel templates, maybe just 10 seconds ago, locating the file, dropping the data in. And then perhaps it takes minimal amount of time, perhaps only 5 seconds, to then lift that data into our preset reporting templates. But with 34,000 reports, even running at 15 seconds a time, and that's a pretty conservative estimate of how long it takes to go through those processes, we suddenly arrive at a total like this. And this is where I say it's scary, 141 hours of staff time, or 19 staff, that would be theoretically required just to produce the scale of the solution we have at the moment. And like I say, that's only inpatients. When we consider the other areas of the trust we work in, community health, population health, primary care, it could be that we're working with over 100,000 charts in the very near future, populating every day from board to ward to team, all using this meaningful way of representing data to make decisions. And we couldn't be able to do that using even reasonably automated method. We needed a solution that can run this every day, all the time.
Excellent. Thanks, Dennis. So I guess it'd be really good to know if anyone would like to enter in the chat, input in terms of, is that similar in your organization in terms of your journey with creating SPC charts in the organization? Are you experiencing any challenges which are similar even now, or do you foresee experiencing those challenges in the near future as well? So please do feel free to comment away in the chats or ask any questions along that as well.
There you are. I threw the gauntlet down to you folks, so keep them on their toes. Come on, questions coming.
Dennis, are you okay going to the next slide? Sorry.
And Oliver, just on the point, it was 141 hours per day. Yeah, 19 FTEs per day. Yeah, not per year, not per month, per day. And this is just wow, isn't it?
Absolutely. One department as well. Yes, so just to reiterate a little bit what we said. So, one of the key challenges for East London Foundation Trust was the scalability of SPC charts, and it being able to manage those SPC charts in an intuitive and interactive way, and as automated as possible as well, from data collection all the way to being able to annotate on the charts as well. And what was really interesting when we were speaking with East London Foundation Trust was that actually now that they've delivered this EasySPC solution as part of their reporting, the executive team at East London Foundation Trust actually now rely on SPC charts. And that was really interesting because previous to that, they were reliant on red, amber, green as parts of their board reports and the RAG rating. And they've specifically been asked by the board to move away from that and have SPC charts only, which we found really interesting anyway. Again, that might be another topic of conversation in the chat. Is that something that you guys are looking to do going forward or not? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer necessarily. So I believe now, Dennis, is my turn to go right into the live demonstration and see how that works. Yeah. So we'll see how this works, everyone. So I've now clicked share, so hopefully you can all see my screen, and I'll just minimize myself there. So this is an example of a Power BI report. Not saying that your reports would necessarily look like this or want to look like this, but it's an option. And what you can see here is that you've got the SPC chart displayed. You've got multiple step changes as necessary, but I think just as importantly as well are the special cause variations which have been highlighted and the annotations which are telling that story. And that's all alongside different slices and filters, whether that's by campus, division locations, maybe it's factory floor, etc., or which call center you're in, and being able to use filters to display that alongside other visualizations as part of your visualization tool to help tell that story. So that's a potential end goal using EasySPC and Power BI. So let me get into a bit of a overview demonstration of some of the key functionality and features of SPC. So what we can see here is that we've got all of the 10 SPC chart types. So we've got the XMR and XBARS, we've got the run charts, C charts, etc., all available to us. And we can choose any of these charts to create an SPC chart with, and it will automatically calculate the control limits, the upper control limits, lower control limits, and center lines based on the chart you select and the calculations from that. We also have a chart selection wizard in the top left for those who would like to use that, and it will ask you questions about your data. And based on the answers to your questions, it will recommend the suitable charts to you on the right-hand side of what you may want to create. For the purpose of this demo and time, I won't go through the questions now, and I'm going to skip ahead and say, actually, I know I want to create an XMR chart. And it will plot my XMR chart for me. So what you can see on the screen now is my UCL, my upper control limit, my lower control limit, my center line, and then my data points plotted on the chart, as you'd expect, all in Power BI. And The blue data points are my what I'd call standard data points, and you can hover over any of the data points and see further information in the tooltip about that data point, the LCL, CL, the measure, etc. And then those ones which are highlighted in red, they're highlighted in red because actually they're showing special cause variation. So you can see at the bottom of the tooltip there that this particular data point is showing both a rule 3 and a rule 4, as it's right at the limits of the upper control limit. This one just before it is showing just a rule 3 as part of that as well. And there are other rules, etc., which are being displayed on the chart. Now, one of the first things that you may want to do when you're analysing your SPC charts is mark a baseline. And you might want to say, here's my norm based on the data and the processes that we've currently got for this use case. So for this example, I'm going to pick on around about the 20th data point, if that's okay with everyone. And what I'll do then is I will select that data point, and it's a simple left click on that data point, and it will pop up a menu of options now within EasySPC. There's a couple of options which I'll come to later in the demonstration, if that's okay, like annotations and ghosting. But what we're talking about right now is being able to mark a baseline. So when I mark a baseline here, what it's going to do is it's going to say that based on those first 20 data points are my baseline. That's my norm. And therefore, it's going to recalculate the upper control limit, the lower control limits, and the center line based on me selecting those 20 data points as my baseline. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And there we go. Hopefully you did see a change there. I think earlier on, I was saying that, these two data points were showing special cause, both for rule 4 and rule 3. They no longer are because they're now within the control limits. However, if you look to the right-hand side of the chart, you can see there's a lot more reds, a lot more special cause variations. And if we were analysing this and understanding what may be happening with this data, I'm looking at the number of incidents in a ward, we'd want to know, okay, well, the number of incidents have gone down. Great. We want the number of incidents in a ward to go down. But it's also good to understand why that's happening. And has there been a change in process? Is there something that we're doing differently and managing the wards differently? Has there been an increase in staff on that ward, for example, which has reduced? Has there been less patients on that ward, which has reduced the number of incidents, etc.? So one of the next things you may want to do when you're looking at your SPC charts is rephase that baseline or do a shift of that baseline. So again, what I can do is I'm going to pick hopefully not a too random data point for this demo and speed. I'll click on this data point here and sort of say, there seems to be somewhere around this point a change in process. So I again left click on a data point and it'll again pop up that menu of options. I've got a few more options now, notably the shift options or rephase options. So we can do a manual shift where we can start and end a shift by an amount of data points of your choosing. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to shift by 8 points. We've got that option there as well. So for those organizations who would like to shift by 8 points, it's a quicker and easier way of being able to do that. And as I click on shift 8 points, you can see the step change is automatically being made. And again, it's automatically recalculated those limits. And now these 8 data points here are now part of my new baseline. And again, a lot of these data points before were showing special cause. There are still some further down the process. And just to show you the abilities in EasySPC as well. So, some of you will have lots of data over time, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 years worth of data. And you'll have data constantly coming into your data warehouse, whether that's every minute, hour, day, week. And you're able to rephase and shift baselines. I'm going to just do this for the purpose of the demo here as many times as you like and need to as part of that. And I'll just do that again there as well, just to show you the flexibility of the tool there as well. And it's just as easy clicking on that and removing those shifts.
And let's hope Don Wheeler's not watching. Oliver, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Moving range chart, how would you display that when looking at a chart like this?
Excellent. So one of the things I was going to get onto later on, but I can skip to it now, is one of the parts of EasySPC, we've got around about 100 different customizable settings with EasySPC. I won't go through them all today, don't worry, but I can go through them at a later date if it's of interest to you. But one of those options pop up is called the second chart settings. And what that does is when you're using the XMR chart or the XBAR-S chart, you then have the ability to, in this case, include the moving range chart there as well, and I can switch that on. We've got some additional options to how that may be displayed and whether you want to show all the rules or not as part of that second chart, the title of that chart, etc. too as well.
And one of the things that we were fairly skeptical of when we first saw the product was that when you do add the moving range chart is the combination of the axes at the bottom. So if you notice, folks, it's jumped down to the bottom. However, once we started looking at it and using the charts in this format, we actually found it really effective, and because you can actually compare the two charts together and read them together without the x-axis getting in the way. And also the ability to hover over, because it's always live. So if Oliver hovers over any of those points on either chart, it will tell you which data, in this case, date it relates to. So our initial skepticism, because it looked different, has now evaporated on that front.
Excellent, thank you very much. So I'm just going to skip ahead to another chart, another report, sorry, just to show a couple of the other features. So as some of you may be aware, if you're already using tools like Power BI or other tools which are out there, as standard, you're able to use filters, whether it's a date filter, for example, to change what you're looking at in terms of the visualization. And EasySPC will react to that as well. And in typical live demo fashion, you can see the spinning circles because of my apparent slow internet connection there, but it has finally worked there as well. Always happens on a live demo. It didn't happen in the dry run, but you know, that's how it works. And then just similar to that as well, you can click on other visualizations within Power BI to filter the EasySPC chart, and vice versa. I could click on a data point within SPC and it will filter the other visualizations appropriately on the chart. But let me just go into edit mode on this chart again here. So you can see what I've done for this one. I've included some of the labels for the upper control limit and the center line and the low control limit here as well, just so we can see that there. And what we can do is we're looking at attendances in an emergency department at a hospital in the UK with this data, and you can see it's fairly static of around about 7,000 to 8,500 attendance to an A&E department for over a year. And then there's a sudden drop in attendances. So those of you who may have sort of nearly spotted the date there at the bottom, you'll see that that's actually because that was when we went into COVID lockdown in the UK. So not only were we not avoiding hospitals, as we always try to do anyway, but we weren't even leaving our homes. So there was a 50% drop effectively in attendances to the A&E department. So what this particular hospital wanted to do was it wanted to remove this outlier from the calculations of the SPC chart itself. Because they said, this is an anomaly. We're aware of this. We know why it's happened, and we don't want it to affect the rest of the SPC chart. So what we allow the ability to do so is, again, I can click on that chart, and that's where the ghost point feature comes in. So if I click on this ghost point feature, what it will do is it will remove that data point from the calculations, and therefore the whole chart will recalculate based on that data point no longer being there. So I don't know if you can see on the left hand side there, the lower control limit is 5,999, so just 106,000, 5,999. So as I click on ghost point, what should happen is that low control limit will change. Again, live demo, so let's see what happens. So I click on that, and that didn't actually happen that time in typical fashion. And then I can ghost multiple data points as appropriate and remove those data points from the calculations there as well. And you can see that it's grayed out those calculations on the chart, those data points on the chart, so we can see that they're not there. If I hover over the tooltip, halfway down that tooltip, you can also see that that value is ghosted. And then what you'd probably want to do to be able to tell that story as part of that journey is, you know, add an annotation and say ghosted this data point due to COVID lockdown, for example. And then I can save that annotation on the chart, hover over that and click on that annotation to pin that chart. And I can add annotations to as many data points as necessary to tell that story as part of that journey there as well.
So Oliver, can I just do a health warning here, because I can see some of my colleagues tremoring with fear. So folks, this is a demonstration of the technology. This is not a training session. We
Absolutely.
are aware that we are tampering left, right, and centre here. So bear with us. It's a typical example of the tech, not the. We're not trying to teach you how to use control charts today. Should you wish to learn how to control charts, go to pmi.co.uk. See what I did there, where you'll find a plethora of learning options.
Absolutely, thank you for that, Rich. So as I mentioned, there's lots of other functionality and features within EasySPC as well that I'm more than happy to share with you at a later date. Did say that there is a free trial version on offer for those of you who make it to the end of this webinar as well, so you can see the full functionality and features. And if you've got any further questions on any of that, please do let me know.
Well, you asked, so you're going to get them. So folks, Dennis, have you got a question first of all before I go through the list we've had come in?
Not a question, but an observation. That the settings, as you were kindly showing them to us, for our organization, we can set our preferred defaults for all these settings, and then they become the standard for any subsequent SPC chart that we create. So you don't have to redefine them every single time you create a new chart. It just becomes the default settings. And I thought that was a beautiful addition to this suite.
Absolutely. So yeah, just to add to that, so what you're seeing here today, I'm using blues and reds as my data point colors and my special colors. For instance, you may say, actually, I want my rule 1 special cause variation, which is showing rule 1, to be bright pink. That's an option for you to do if you wish to do so. And there's lots of different tweaks and you can make. We've tried to develop this EasySPC tool so it's easy to use both from a report creator perspective and an intuitive way from an end user perspective, and giving you the flexibility to do hopefully what you'd like to do as part of that. And there's my pop-up.
Cool. So a few questions at this point, if I may. Can you give us an idea of what kind of data sources the product can use, Oliver?
Absolutely, yeah. So for those of you who are familiar with Power BI, you know you sort of almost anything you'd like, but because we're using Power BI as a reporting tool, it can connect to over 100 different data sources, whether that's social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter, to SQL databases. And if you've got APIs to any of your systems, then you can connect to those too. We work with a lot of organizations to help with that data from a data perspective as well, and bringing that single source of truth into a data warehouse, just a bit like East London Foundation Trust explained in the video earlier, where they're able to, all their data is in their data warehouse, automatically updating, and therefore the Power BI reports are refreshing automatically as well.
Great.
Hopefully
a very specific and quick one, I think. So can you edit and annotate in the Power BI web client, or do you need to be in the desktop client?
I'm in my web. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the call. Yes, you can absolutely do it in the web client. I'm in my Google Chrome browser right now as I'm doing this demo.
Okay, fantastic. And one for you, Dennis, please. Thinking about applications of this, would you see this as being an appropriate solution to use in understanding customer support demand in live call center environments, for example?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you go into call centers at the moment, very often they have the large screens, which have just single numbers on it. They may show you, therefore, also what's happened last hour or the next hour. But boy, if you had this and you set your refresh rate at the right place for the refresh of this system, absolutely, it would be tremendous to understand that.
Great, thank you very much. Cheers, guys. I'll hold the rest of the questions for now.
Perfect. So I think we can go back to slides.
All right.
Come on, Dennis. We've managed to get through the tech demonstration without a flaw. Don't struggle on screen shares. Come on.
So here we have now the early warning system, Oliver.
Yeah, sure. So this is just another example. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we specialize in analytics and help partner with our customers to develop innovative solutions to their key challenges. So another key challenge which East London had was actually, as a director or a manager, that they've got so many potential SPC charts and processes to understand and take care of and manage, that actually when they come in the morning, what they want to do is understand where the pressures are and where they need to focus their attention and detail on at any given time. So what this early warning system does, as an example, again, sorry, it's a hospital example, but this could be, as I'm sure you'll be able to see, this could be replicated for other industries as well, whether it's factory floors, etc., call centers. You may have various different locations and departments with multiple different measures which you're looking after, and it's about understanding where to focus those attention. So this early warning system uses SPC methodology in the back end.
So what are these indicators telling us if we're looking at that? So imagine that in this circumstance, I think we're talking about different types of category of measure against different wards and service providers. So what's that kind of thing? What are the indicators telling us here?
Yeah, great question. So, for example, and if you look on the left-hand side here, so complaints, where there's it's showing that eight special cause variations being seen for that ward at that department, etc.
Okay,
so it's just
these
flagging those ones.
Beneath here, these are signals. It's summarizing signals up from charts that are sitting beneath it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, that's great.
To be able to give you that summary view.
Yeah, so you could translate this into retail stores or warehouses, machines in factories, different production plants, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And you know, with almost all the projects we work with customers, there's almost always an 80-20 approach where 80% is, you know, similar to other organizations. You've got very similar challenges, and there's always going to be that 20% tweak to suit your organization. So yeah, we can absolutely have a conversation around that.
Sure. So Dennis, I think we've got time to do a quick single slide on, for those of you who may remember, a few months ago last year, the PMI ops team presented their huddle live. In one of the PMI live sessions, much to their great pleasure. I asked them to do that and they all cooperated and did a great job. So we thought we'd show you this. Since we did that demo, we've now switched to using EasySPC to run those huddles. So these are live operational performance huddles. And Dennis, if you could just zoom in, please, on that chart. So what the image you've got here is an example of one of the charts, and it's highlighted red because there's signal on it. It's automatically detected that and highlighted it's red to draw attention. If you look at the list for me, Dennis, and zoom in on that, I just want to describe the versatility that we're using it. So we call this our left to right generate demand to satisfy demand performance control. So we're measuring here everything from organic website hits, which is downstream measure for us, indicating traffic that we're getting to our websites, right through to, as you can see, overdue debtors, where we've delivered a service, right through to are we getting paid for that service and in what time period, through to on the end number of support calls from crossing our IT support desk. So there's a wide range and everything in between. We've got voice of the customer surveys, number of opportunities that have been won, number of jobs we've got in flight with clients, each measured in its own chart, presented by its own process owner, but using the technology. And we've eliminated, by doing that, any of the manual updating of the data, and it's reading a range of sources, everything from Excel to ERP systems to our CRM system, and combining that together through some wizardry of one of our colleagues, Mohammed, who has built these dashboards for us and combine the data sources together so that the presenter can focus on this key thing that Dennis talked about earlier on. It's the insights from the data rather than the managing of the input of the data and the manipulation of the charts.
And Rich, I see this one is red.
Yes, indeed. Yep. So there's a signal on this one, so it highlights the background, which we've found. So we've been using this. I think when was that? We went live, Oliver. Was that about January time?
Yeah,
I think we went live with it. So yeah, so we've been going for a couple of months with these charts, and it's really useful. And not only does it make the huddles flow smoother, it also enables us to spot things like this. That's up is good, by the way, on that chart.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic.
Right,
so Dennis, back to you.
Thank you very much. So summary in this case, So control charts, they are nearly 100 years young, yet they're not yet common in everyday visual management of the everyday performance. We see them on improvement projects, but not yet maturing through into the everyday performance, except of course in those beautiful case studies that Oliver shared earlier. So therefore, a key takeaway for me to you would be is assess your current state. Where are you in terms of maturity around data analytics? Therefore, what does a journey look like to move to the right? And then, of course, once you've got that data analytics maturity, what is the willingness and the ability of the organization to transition to near real-time SPC charts? And then, of course, as hopefully you agree with us, EasySPC is a great add-in to Power BI to do this real-time SPC in a standardized way. So just think about if an organization, which is a single head office, multiple locations globally, to have this at your fingertips, even on your mobile, when you're in the lounge waiting to fly somewhere, you can have that data right there. And therefore, back to the final point, why? Why do we use this SPC in an automated way? Because I would love for all of you to use your human capital, your human intellect, not to argue how good the data has to be, but actually to generate insights and drive performance.
Mm-hmm. And you know, the best way to do that, I'm all about the links today, seamlessly here. So the best way to do that, Dennis, try it out. So in the chat, I have just released a URL that's unique to people that are live in the webinar. You'll be able to go to the webinar, fill in the form there, and we'll get in touch with you to arrange the trial. So please do fill your details in there. And as highlighted on the screen here, this is a trial version of the full suite of charts that Cloud2 have very generously made available. So yeah, fill those forms in and we'll get in touch with you next week to get you enrolled and get going. Give it a shot, and the guys will support you as you explore the product. Okay, finally, where are we at? So as I mentioned earlier on, the PMI Live series, in fact, I maybe didn't mention it earlier on, we are delighted to have published this morning. The BDIW will have noticed the latest in the series of PMI Lives. Got the next quarters up, and we're going for a tools series. This time kicking off, so we've got 3 over the next 3 months, kicking off next month with Pinpoint Your Problems, Tools to Visualize Your Processes, with my colleague Sean Buckland. So as normal, you can register at pmi.co.uk/webinars. And Dennis, if you could tick over to the next slide for me, that'd be great. So just final reminder on this month's thought leadership content from PMI. We've got a fantastic interview in the Leading for Business Excellence podcast with Dr. Nicola Millard, Principal Innovation Partner at BT Group. Really great interview. You'll find it on all the podcast platforms as well as on our Knowledge Hub, which can be found at the web address there. And their familiar character, although considerably smarter than he is today, Dennis, presenting one of the 2 latest episodes of Uncommon Sense podcast. One, ideas for generating idea generation for better solutions, and then with our colleague Damien, quick wins for early success as well. Again, on the website at the Knowledge Hub, but also you can subscribe on your favorite or preferred podcast platform. And last but not least, we've got Catherine Daubney in from BJSS in the Room for Improvement this month. Practitioner videos, short, great to access. Please do take a look over there. So as you may have gathered, folks, we do love to talk, so don't hesitate to get in touch. Find the details on our website, pmi.co.uk, or you can email us at the team address, which is team@pmi.co.uk. So on that note, and given the time, please do get in touch if you have any further questions. Have a go with the demo, which I've just released the URL for. And we thank you very much for joining us. It's been great to have you with us, and very much look forward to seeing you again on the next PMI Live. Oliver, thanks so much for joining us, and well done on the tech, behaving almost exclusively throughout. Dennis, thank you very much, and thanks everyone, and have great weekends when you get to them.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.